Okay. Hello again. I am Dagrin, and this is going to be a little tutorial detailing, and this time related to Super Turrican. This is going to be featuring how to do pretty much the biggest glitch in the game, which is the ability to clip into walls using the electrical beam here. So, for those that have not played this game, most may, if you want to know what this thing actually does, the primary use of the electrical beam, at least for on a casual sense, is to use it to petrify enemies, and this also lowers their defenses, which makes them easier to kill. That's its primary use. However, there is another big use involving the beam, the electrical beam, and we're about to demonstrate it here, but first we need to get right up against the wall here, like so. So now my back is against the wall here, and what the electrical beam can do in a situation like this is it can actually push you into the wall here. This trick saves quite a few minutes in the actual run, so learning how to do it is pretty integral. But what you have to do... Okay, so the purpose of this tutorial is to both showcase how to do it the slow and easy way, as well as show how to do it the fast but hard way. We're going to start off by doing it the easy way, and this is probably the best place to do it because it allows me time to explain it. But I guess I'll start by saying, for the beam weapon, you can do this with the X button or the L button. Both of these buttons activate the beam weapon, unless you change it, you're changed from the default controls, but this is always one and the same. But generally speaking, what you want to do is you want to get up to a wall like this, duck, then shift your direction, and then unduck. And this puts your back right up against the wall. Now the next step you want to do is you want to press whichever button you prefer, whether it's X or L. I think for the easier way, I find it easier to use the L button here. So I'm going to hold the L button here. And then next we want to press the direction that we're currently facing here, which is the left direction, like so. However, this is not going to push us into the wall. What does allow us to push into the wall though, is us tapping down on the direction input. Remember to keep holding the direction, the left direction here, as well as whatever button, the X or the L button. And then, while you're doing this, tap the down button. But of course, when you have to tap the down direction is pretty, not really specific timing, but you have to wait until, let's get this mouse here. You have to wait until you start facing towards the wall. That's when you want to press down. And what it's going to do is it's going to shove your character into the wall a few pixels. So let's see if I can demonstrate this. And now. And you can see how every time I tap down, as soon as this guy here starts facing towards the wall, it causes him to crouch. What you're basically doing is, when you're holding down and left and then tapping down, you're causing this guy to duck, but because you're holding the left direction, it's making him face towards, away from the wall again. And that allows you to actually push yourself a few pixels into the wall. So that's generally the idea of the slow but easier way of actually getting into the walls. And then once you're in the wall comfortably, you can actually just simply tap the B button and you'll be able to make it in just fine. So let's just demonstrate that one more time. We're up against the wall, hold the L button, now the left, down, 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 down. And you can do this an infinite number of times even, just really push yourself into the wall here. Now we're kind of stuck in here, which It might sound kind of scary, but thankfully, in this particular case, 1-3, we're able to climb right up this wall here and actually come up out here. So if you don't know, that spot over here, that is actually a boss fight over there. In fact, I'll go over here just to prove that point. So normally you're supposed to go through all of this, but if you're playing this game normally, you would be going through all of this, but as I clearly showed with that trick, you're actually able to skip this fight entirely. Thankfully, there's some health there, because I definitely did not have a good showing of that fight. But that's kind of the idea of the beam trick weapon. So, sadly, we have to beat the rest of this level in order to next show our next showcase of the beam trick in action. There's a sort of a different method that needs to be used in order to get in the slower but safer way, or the safer, more consistent way for 2-1, and we will get to show that off. But first, we need to clear this level. This is the last level in World 1, and also the first level that allows you to demonstrate. It's the first level that allows you to demonstrate or take advantage of the beam trick. Now here's 2-1. 2-1's actually a really awful stage. But thankfully, because of this trick, you actually can really take advantage of the level's horrible design. So we're actually going to bait that out. Okay, so right here, you might not think there's a wall here, but there's not. But it is a border, and we can actually push ourselves past the border. If you go too far, though, it will actually send you directly down. If there's nothing but a pit there, you're gonna die. Like, it's something that you will see kind of utilized in 4-1, but we're not going to actually show that, because the use of the beam trick is it really only needs to be demonstrated in the next couple of levels here. But here I'm going to demonstrate both the easy and the fast way of doing this particular trick. So, to start things off, in this particular case, you might think, do we use the same exact method as we did in 1-3? The answer is no. And the reason why is because of this hidden platform. If you use the electrical beam on this platform, it will disappear, and then you're just going to end up falling right down here. Basically, that is a reset, unless you intend to do this glitchless. And trust me, you do not want to do this level glitchless. It is absolutely awful. Instead, though, what we're going to do is we're going to hold the L button again. But this time, we're going to use our single thumb to hold up and right. And what that's going to do is it's going to direct the beam up and over. And much like how in the previous demonstration of the beam glitch, how we had to wait till this guy here faces towards the border, or to the out-of-bounds border, we want to direct the beam all the way till he faces that direction, and then we go from holding up and right to immediately rolling down and left, and that allows you to actually continually push yourselves into this wall here, because the same kind of idea applies. It's slower than the other slow method, but this was the old way of how to get into this wall. So let's see if I can demonstrate this. Whoa, yeah, you can see how it's kind of finicky. Okay, and yeah, there you go. See, it's that In fact, I almost question if it's actually easier to do it that way. Now that I've actually had some struggling, I struggled pretty badly to do that. But you can see how you're able to push yourself into that wall there using that method. Again, though, probably not a good idea though anymore to do it that way. But if you want to test around with the idea of doing it that way, maybe you could also use your two forefingers here. Obviously, my idea would be to hold this up and left, and then just quickly tap down and right. But my guess would probably actually, you know what? My best guess would probably be to kind of hold towards the upper left corner of the D-pad here, just so that you don't end up having any accidents. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, it's still kind of finicky. But yeah, you can see how it's the idea behind it is to go from up right to down left. That's the alternation. That's the alternating way of doing it, the slow way in this particular level. That's how you get in there, because obviously you can't destroy this hidden platform, or otherwise you completely destroy any chance of getting in there. Now, that's pretty much the end of my demonstration for how to do it the slow way. Pretty much every other place you can do the beam clip in the walls, the slow way, pretty much just see any standard run by either Jorf and I, and you'll get an idea of where you need to use the beam trick. It's kind of the same principle. Obviously, I had to show the 1 and 2 one because that's the only time. Thankfully, that is the only time you need to do the up right to down left to up right to down left method. Thankfully, all the other places you can push into walls are the same exact method as the one you saw in 2-1, which is far more consistent. The exception, of course, being 2-3, but that's of course because you're going to be facing towards a left wall, which is just, well, we'll get into that. We'll demonstrate that when we get there. Now, I'm going to now demonstrate the fast way of how to do this. So we're going to see if we get on this part of the platform. Now, why this is harder is because it's much more precise what you have to do, and being able to do it fast is also very, very tricky. So I'll try my best to explain what we need to do. But our first step is to face towards where we want to push into the wall. Then we want to hold that direction, or hold down the X button, which is what I prefer to do. Then switch, keep that down button pressed, and then switch directions, let go, face the other way, press X, face that way. You might notice I'm getting closer towards the border here. Oh shoot! Okay, that's kind of bad. Okay, I'll detail it in level. I'll detail it in the next level. It looks like. So unfortunately, I have to do this stage the really bad way. Hopefully, I do not die. Oh, very nice. At least I got a shield here. You can see why this is really, really bad for, If you couldn't quite tell why this is really bad for anyone doing it glitchless, you have to go through all of this stuff with a shield. It's the only way you can actually get through it without immediately paying a... It's just a huge reliance on the shield. We're gonna take this nice and safe. Oh, wow, that was close. Alright. Okay, good. that's why we do not want to do that level the glitchless way. That's why that break is pretty significant. Now let's see if I can properly display this. I'm actually going to kill this guy, because I don't want to accidentally mess this up and actually take a hit. But the idea behind... Oh man, that's a terrible angle. Okay, maybe this might be a little bit better. But what we want to do is we want to duck and face towards the wall that we want to push into. Then we want to hit the beam weapon and then face away from the wall while still holding the beam button. Once we face away from it, we want to let go of the beam button. Then face towards it. Activate beam button, face away, let go of beam button, face towards it, activate, away from wall, deactivate, face towards the wall, activate, away from the wall, deactivate. And that's kind of how, that's the fast way of doing it in slow, ultra slow motion. So let's see if we can, you can see, hold on. So it's kind of hard to really display how it works, but if you might notice, hopefully you noticed it in the previous level, but you notice I'm actually moving further away from this this little pipe here. So you can see my gun is through it right now, or you see my feed, part of my sprite is already through it. Now pay close attention to the gun if I don't keep messing this up. Notice the gun's getting away from it. Now there's distance created. And that is how the fast trick works. And obviously, that's how it looks like in doing it the ultimate learning process way. So it looks very slow in comparison, but with certain rhythm and certain with a certain amount of practice, you're able to really take advantage of this method and really get into walls really efficiently, really, really fast. It's a certain level of rhythm that you need, but you can see this method is what led this level to be actually viable in terms of just simply breaking into the walls. So understanding the rhythm is very hard to describe. I could only give you maybe some advice that I just, once I'm in the wall, it's hard actually for me to actually break out, so the worry of me standing up for whatever reason is not something that crosses my mind. Once you're in the wall confidently, you don't have to worry about accidentally walking out of the wall. So that's one good piece of advice I can give, but again, you really, establishing the rhythm to get into this wall is very tricky to even understand. Like, it really just comes down to hard practice. And even I'm prone to messing this up. Like, don't even kid yourselves. I may hold a sub 10 time in this game, but it's still very hard to consistently keep that rhythm, and especially if I'm rusty in the game. It's especially hard to maintain that rhythm. Let's see if I can establish this rhythm here. Oh, yeah, see, I'm already struggling. You really have to gyrate this this hand here with the D-pad an awful lot. And then just time the button presses as such. But your hand here really is what allows you to have that consistent movement of back and forth. And of course, obviously you need to keep holding down during all of this, which is very finicky. Very, very finicky stuff. Only reason I think I'm able to do it is because I think Gunstar Heroes has cultured me to be able to do this properly. Because I have to really keep control of Fire Chaser in that game, and you really have to have solid control with your hands from here to here. But that's kind of my best Of course, my recommendation isn't to just learn Gunstar Heroes and get a feel for it, because that's obviously not true. But if you want to learn the fast way, you just have to practice. Practice, practice, practice. That's really the one and only way you're going to be able to get the rhythm down, to be able to break into walls super efficiently and super fast. So, I'm actually going to break out of this wall here now and see if I can practice. You can see I struggle quite a bit trying to get out or push myself in right here, or left here. I actually have to really be careful. Alright, so let's try and... No, see, I'm already struggling. Yeah, see, I'm kind of struggling here. And now you get to also see a nice little trick here, which I got. Very nice. Okay, so that's... that kind of gives you an idea of just how difficult it is to get that rhythm down. So if you can't get it, you know, as you're learning it, don't sweat it. It's going to be tough no matter what. It's tough for me. So if it's tough for me, it's going to be tough for you. Now, the last real trick here, I'm not going to really demonstrate the fast method anymore. You probably should at least have somewhat of an idea of that. But I guess for people wanting to still learn the slow way, this is another instance where you have to somewhat do things a little bit differently than, you know, just simply holding left and L. This time you have to hold right and L, and then tap down. And of course it's the same method, so let's see if I can just quickly demonstrate that. And of course you only have to get in a couple, like 2 or 3 pushes into the wall, and you should be just fine to pretty much just quickly climb up this section here. Actually, I'm not going to do the fast way, the fast climbing way. But you can see how climbing that wall there just pretty much skips the entirety of the stage there. And allows you to just get right into the very end of the run there. And yeah, it gets you right to this guy here. And that's kind of the idea of how to break into the walls there. I'm not going to show off any of the other places where you can push into the walls in this game. I really don't need to do that, and I have to go through a number of different levels just to get to those levels. And you know, in general, there's nothing more I can teach. Like, it's all the same exact methods, the same way. You want to do it the fast way, well, it's the same exact way as what I demonstrated in the level previously. If you wanted to do it the slow way, you know, I've already demonstrated it in 1.3. So that's really going to do it for this particular... That's going to do it for this particular guide, or little... yeah, this little guide involving the broken beam trick that allows you to clip into walls in Super Turrican. So, thanks for watching, everybody.